Hello everyone. So welcome back to our eighth session of Avico Economic Forum, a student panel discussion. And today we have a master blaster panelist with us, that is Akash Subramanian and Mikhail. Both of them have participated in our previous sessions also. And today we have a very interesting topic with us, that is Brexit deal. Brexit deal is in its nature is not just about economics. It is expanded toward more political and geopolitical reasons as well. In this video, we are committed to deliver you perfect knowledge about whereabouts of Brexit deal, the reasons, and its impacts on the European economy as well as the global economy as a whole. The first question which we have on the table is directed towards Akash. Akash, could you please brief us about the Brexit deal and why exactly UK might have thought that they might consider to leave European Union?
Yes, absolutely, Varad. Before I speak about the Brexit deal, let us understand two important terms here, that is Great Britain and the United Kingdom. Now, Great Britain, according to the definition, consists of England, Scotland, and Wales. Okay, Northern Ireland is a part of United Kingdom, but not a part of Great Britain. So, as we go further in the discussion, we will understand the effect of Northern Ireland in the total Brexit. All right. Now, in simple words, the European Union is an economic partnership that has been between the 28 countries, and Britain and UK have been a part of European Union for many years now. But somehow, United Kingdom has not seen a prosperous opportunity with European Union. They want their own economic freedom. They do not want the regulations of European Union over them, and hence, at least for the last 4.5 years, Britain has been trying to, separate itself, have economic independence. Right. Now, of course, the
Perfect.
Brexit deal has been pretty peaceful, and even though they were going in for a
Exactly.
hard Brexit, but let us see how it turns out. Now, just a little bit of history. I'll just keep it brief. Initially, the Brexit plan was given 52% positive votes by the United Kingdom. Now, here we're talking about the majority with England, and Scotland was not a part. I mean, they were a part of the votes, but they were not for the Brexit deal, right? And 52% is like a very marginal victory for having a Brexit.
Yes.
And David Cameron could not get this into aspect, and hence he resigned, and he was taken over by Theresa May, and she opened the Article 50 and went full throttle with the Brexit deal. But even though three times I think there were deals put forward on the table between UK and EU, and this did not work. And after 3 years of frantic attempts made by Theresa May too, she too resigned, and finally now we have the Prime Minister Boris Johnson, who had promised the Brexit deal within 6 months. Even he found it difficult, but in 1.5 years we have a deal now. So this was the history, and let us go deeper into the economic perspective.
Yes, perfect. Very well explained, Akash. And further diving deep into the Brexit deal, we understand that the European Union and United Kingdom, as you told, have showed some maturity and signed a free trade agreement between them just to subside the effects of tariffs which are imposed by either of the parties. So, Mikhail, the question is directed towards you. Can you brief anything about the free trade agreement which is recently signed by UK and European Union?
Just generally, what has happened is this is being termed as a bit of a hard Brexit. So, basically, this sort of serrated break in the UK EU partnership, what will have is so there's going to be a radically different relationship between the EU and the UK, because now what will happen is the WTO will govern their trade. So it means completely different from the previous trade arguments they had. So you're the will have to introduce two new terms, which is single market and customs union. So single market is basically where your aim is to obliterate trade taxes, unnecessary tariffs, and even non-tariff barriers. So you have stuff like embargoes, you have stuff like sanctions, you have unnecessary tariffs like that, rules on packaging and how goods and services can freely move. So that is a single market. This is what is then the EU. And a customs union is where all the countries team up and they apply the same tariff to goods. So, for example, if you are clearing some customs in France, just for example, and if you ship them to Hungary, for example, which is also in the EU, there won't be any unnecessary further tariffs. So that is what's going to happen over here. So this is not good. This is what happens when the UK will not be a part of it. So that is the thing that's going to happen with a new perspective with Brexit happening over here.
Thank you so much, Mikhail.
Varad, if I could just add one or two more points about
Yes,
the
sure.
agreement. Now, there is one thing that has been seen is this Brexit deal has been very much not considered widely as a hard Brexit, mainly because of the policies of FDA. It has been pretty free, and UK does not have enough power with the European Union. Also, one more point is people traveling. There's this labor supply and people's issue, which will really affect the relationship between UK and the European Union, stating that they have to undergo strict screening and safety rules, and definitely the transportation between, as you had mentioned, the Northern Ireland and Ireland countries is going to be a tedious one. And also one very important point that I would like to bring forward here is main sectors getting affected negatively with the Brexit deal is the education sector and the food sector. Right. Education sector, I mean, UK and European Union have signed something called the Erasmus scheme, which allows for collaboration between scientists, scholars, and also European Union students who can study in Britain at their own local prices, paying their own local currencies. But now there'll be a problem where students will face an issue with the cost, and also scientists, the educational collaborations will also take a backlash. And we of course know about common fisheries policies, which is fish is the staple diet in United Kingdom, and this Brexit deal has given leverages over UK having the permission with European Union to fish around UK. Now, for the next 5.5 years, European Union can take as many fishes as possible from their coast, and this is not given prominence in the court in United Kingdom. So these are two important sectors which is being affected, and hence hard Brexit is still debatable, though the government is claiming the same.
Nicely explained, both of you, Mikhail and Akash. So the next question is directed to you, Akash. As the European Union and United Kingdom have signed a free trade agreement, what challenges that may arise for United Kingdom, European Union, as well as rest of the world in terms of trade and other economic relations after the Brexit deal? Can you please elaborate?
Surely, this is a pretty elaborate question. Let me just break them down. Now, talking about the free trade agreements, there is obviously no tariffs and quotas between European Union and United Kingdom, but there'll be really strict checks happening, in the dockyards, even for transportation. The main economic effect that will be happening over this will be delays on the ports, delays of transportation, delays of goods, which will have an effect on the prices. This can cause shortages. This can cause the destruction of goods, the wastages. So this is one aspect. Second, of course, labor supply in the market won't be free, even though it is considered the same between European Union and United Kingdom. There will be trust issues between the ministers, between labor, between businessmen. So it is a very frictional kind of relationship that UK and EU will have in the next few years. So that is one aspect. Second aspect, we are speaking about international relations and how they might get affected. Right now, the trade that has been happening so many years, every single agreement that UK has signed has been in the supervision of European Union. Right now, some countries might see it beneficial if UK is, regulating their own trade policies here. I'll give an example for India. India would want to have a stronger free trade agreement with United Kingdom, which is not fully existent as of now. Because first, United Kingdom is a huge consumer supply market. Second, United Kingdom is a huge hub for small businesses from India for steel and technology exports and imports happening. So when UK has the independence, so this is a positive effect that I'm talking about. Challenges will be for the international market, the supply chain. If any business from any country is operating on an European supply chain, transportation of goods is dependent on European Union countries and the United Kingdom. This is going to take a lot of tedious process, a lot of backlash will be happening. That is one thing. Second, right now, European Union and the United Kingdom might change a few trade policies as they require because it was getting affected. So any deal to be signed, and since it is the pandemic right now, it surely will take time for all the countries. So that is one aspect for sure. And challenges between UK and European Union, one more aspect must be the
Yes.
collaborations that happen between them. Any new policies and agreements will have a lot of debates and debacles happening between them. So that right now it is still fresh waters for both of them. There's still markets to be tested, but frictional is the word for them right now. So yes, that summarizes my point.
Great explained, Akash. Mikhail, next question I'm willing to ask you is that in recent years, the United Kingdom government has been telling continuously that they had a hard Brexit deal. So, what exactly would you like to address to our audience about hard Brexit deal? What compromises the UK has made, or why the policymakers consider it a hard Brexit deal?
Well, basically, the way a hard Brexit deal works is you have nothing in common with your previous agreement. So now the way UK will work is with the World Trade Organization as opposed to the European Union. So the terms that I mentioned before, single market and customs union, will not apply to the UK as a part of the EU as it was. So now it will be an outsider to the EU. So the way that they trade now will make it a hard Brexit. That is what the idea was supposed to be. This is what, because obviously it's something that's still fresh. So people are still speculating, is it going to be a hard Brexit? Like Akash speculated, it may be a soft Brexit as well. Where a soft Brexit is conversely the opposite, where the conditions are similar to the former agreement. So whether they will actually work in a way that is mature, immature, it is still left to be seen. But additionally, we also have to ask, will there be actually be a trade deal between the two? Because there may be also be future friction, as Akash kind of hinted to. So that would be the distinction between a hard Brexit and a soft Brexit. Mostly in terms of non-tariff barriers, as I mentioned earlier. Yeah.
Very well explained, Mikhail. Next question is very important for India. As we are doing this session sitting in India, we have to look at this Brexit deal from our perspective also. The question here arises here is that how India should watch or how India should interpret the Brexit deal happening and what might be the trade effects on Indian side or how can India see an opportunity or a threat from a Brexit deal? Akash, I would like you to answer.
Okay, sure. Now, India definitely will see advantages to have a strong bilateral trade with the UK. In fact, these talks have already been scheduled. Now, Prime Minister Boris Johnson was supposed to visit India as the chief guest for the Republic Day program, but due to the pandemic worsening in the UK, they have refrained to do so. Further talks have been scheduled for now. Now, India would want to strengthen its bilateral trade since, as I had mentioned earlier, UK is a huge consumer market. Agricultural produce, fast-moving consumer goods from India is in huge demand. So, without the regulations of European Union, UK would really expand their business in India, and India would really expand it in the UK. Emphasis giving on Indian businesses, small scale, as well as major industries, too are flourishing in the kingdom. So UK can also, there's this important aspect, UK can also see a throughput market in India, which would mean if there is any trouble in the bilateral trade of goods and services between United Kingdom and the European Union, the UK could actually, screen them out from India. The trade could happen between UK and India and could be re-exported to European Union because there'll be less tensions. There is, smoother trade happening between European Union and India right now. So if there is any trouble in the bilateral trade between UK and EU, this is a very good soft spot for them. Now, I don't believe that European Union have signed the origins of good requirement. That is why the re-exporting is possible right now. Also, Boris Johnson has already promised that Indian investors for expanding new businesses in their land are more than welcome to do so. This Brexit will not at all affect their relations and would not cause any losses. Rather, they have promised it to be stronger. There might be slight trouble for Indian businesses whose trade relies on the European supply chain, the procurement of materials and the transportation of final goods. But this is just a short-term risk for sure. In the long term, India and United Kingdom will really have a strong relationship, and this is what they vie for right now.
Yes, exactly. Very well explained, Akash. I would like to add just a few examples so
Sure.
as to elaborate the explanation here. The thing which I would like to say is that take this as UK imposes 25% tariffs on the goods export on the goods imported from India. So the product which is imported from India becomes rupees 125 if its cost is 100 in UK. And on this same product, European Union is charging 50% tariffs. So the product is being charged at rupees 150 in European Union. So what generally happens is that countries try to do trade routing, that is, route the goods through one country to the other region so as to evade the effects of tariffs. Now, what happens? Let's understand. There is a businessman or trader in India. What he does is that he uh, exports the goods to UK, and those goods become rupees 125 in UK. And now, since UK has a free trade agreement with European Union, those goods will be exported towards the European Union at just a cost of rupees 125, thereby saving 25 rupees directly in terms of tariffs and making the goods more cheaper in the European markets. This is what we call as trade routing. And I hope in recent years we can expect that European Union would, uh, you know, make the countries of origin or rules of origin more stringent so as to avoid some trade routing, which is currently China is practicing through a free trade agreement with ASEAN countries, through Hong Kong and Malaysia towards India, as India has FTA with Malaysia. Also, China has FTA with this. So currently, we are experiencing the same situation as the countries may aspire to do with UK and European Union.
That's a
So
wonderful example, Varad. Thank you so much.
thank you so much, Akash. Now, as Akash has explained very well, that the United Kingdom for consists of England, Wales, and Scotland. So the and further, as he explained, that in Scotland, where when the referendum was conducted, 52% of people voted to be in European Union. If I'm not wrong, Akash.
That is right. Yes.
Yes. So, what do you think how the Scottish people or Scottish government, also the Northern Ireland government, would react to this, and how you perceive it to be in future? Mikhail, this question is for you.
Well, so Scotland is the poor person between the devil and the deep sea over here because it has no, it's just stuck in the middle. It doesn't know what to do. It's like a mother and father's fighting, and the child is in between, not knowing what to do. You know. But now that there's exit happening, this is actually not very good for the economy because what the studies have been saying and what analysts have been saying is that now that there'll be lower household incomes and many of the sectors in Scotland will be hurt, the fisheries will be hurt. So, in terms of retaliation, if you want to really call it retaliation, rather than I would say self-interest or self-preservation, what Scotland would hypothetically do is it could, just could, choose to become an independent country. It could rejoin the EU and then enjoy benefits of the membership. So that may hurt the UK because Scotland is kind of part of the team, right? So I wouldn't call it retaliation as such, but more in terms of self-preservation, that could be something that Scotland would take up as a measure to act upon.
Varad,
Thank you
if I
so
could
much,
add
Mikhail.
a point here,
Yes,
there was
yes.
this comment made by the First Minister of Scotland, since they don't have a Prime Minister, the first minister is representing the states there, or the smaller countries. She had made the comment that her name is Nicola Sturgeon, and her comment is that she's completely unhappy about the Brexit deal. She says all Scotland can aspire is a choice between terrible deals that they didn't vote for and a no deal they didn't vote for and couldn't vote for. So, and even then, their vote only counts if it accords with the Westminster, which means in relation with England. Right. So this means that for Scotland, they had already formed two referendums against having the Brexit, which was unsuccessful because as it is a democracy there, taking in consideration Northern Ireland and Wales' opinion is important. So Scotland could not have the majority in the vote, and hence they are not happy. The comment is no thanks. The Brexit is not for us, and there might be chances of some repercussions happening because, as Mikhail said, that they do want to be a part of European Union. They have supported. They have said that it was a commendable relation for Scotland too. So only future will say what could be the the
Yes.
effect that could happen. Yes.
Yes, exactly. Even in recent times, if you have seen, the Ireland, which is divided into two parts, basically Northern Ireland, which is a part of United Kingdom. No, it's a part of uh, England. Uh,
You,
Correct me if I'm
you're
wrong.
right. United Kingdom. Northern
United
Ireland is a
Kingdom.
part of United Kingdom. Yes.
Northern Ireland is a part of United Kingdom, and further, the Ireland, which is a country as a whole, southern to it, is a part of European Union currently. So the point here is that the Ireland has emerged as a global hub to either have a relation, which country either has relations with United Kingdom also and European Union also. So people throughout the world are aspiring to move to Ireland rather than to England to expand their opportunities. And in recent times, we have seen in a lot of statistical data as well, the level of immigration, the number of immigrants moving to Ireland have been skyrocketing. And that might be a positive point for Irish economy. It's a good sign for them as such. And then finally, I would like to ask a last question, that how refugee crisis of 2015 might have might have been a trigger point for United Kingdom to think that the uh, they might exit from European Union. This question is open for all.
Well, I believe that it was sort of the turning points for Brexit. It was a watershed moment because at that point of time, many people believed that because of these inflows of immigration, because of sort of the free immigration, that jobs will be lost for those who are actually part. Those are their words. Who are actually part of the UK. So that is a sort of issue, and they believe this because of the EU's sort of norms that were being promulgated within the UK. So it was a sort of that was a sort of moment. So that whole immigration crisis was something that maybe started the dominoes effect for Brexit.
If you want, I
Yes.
could add something about the Ireland's situation along with the Brexit deal. Now, now Ireland could feel a little bit isolated during the deal because they share a border with Northern Ireland, which surely is not a hard border, but with the Brexit happening, they could surely expect that, right? So of course, Northern Ireland has, as I had mentioned, is not a part of Great Britain. So as of now, it's like a partial deal for Brexit with them. They still have the free economic trade that was happening as it was when they were a part of European Union. Right. So what could happen is this is kind of a loophole that United Kingdom could get. So if, as I mentioned, India is not the immediate market if it fails with the European Union. If there's any crisis happening between UK and European Union, Northern Ireland would be a prime target through which they would get the goods from Northern Ireland into Ireland, and from there a trade could happen easily with European Union. So this is, a very sensitive area for Ireland as well as Northern Ireland, having their own domestic issues. So border regulations would really stricten, and this would really not make sense considering what European Union wants in Brexit. So this is a
Yes.
loophole in the entire deal. So this is what I could add.
Yes,
Yes.
exactly. Thank you so much, Mikhail and Akash. Further, I would like to add just a few examples and some points to this. At the time of 2015 refugee crisis, the European Parliament, which is a parliament of European Union as a whole, although all the countries have their separate parliaments, European Parliament makes rules which are applicable for everyone, which might be variable as per the countries. But according to the European Parliament rule, every European country had to let in some number of refugees in proportion to their population so as to subside the effects of Iraqi civil war, which was going there. And then, as Mikhail and Akash, both of them told us that the countries in the European Union started feeling the pessimism, or they were very uh, frustrated, we can say, about the increasing population. Then we have also witnessed the increasing terror attacks in the Europe as a whole. So uh, the negative sentiments about the refugee crisis started increasing from year 2016. Also, the United Kingdom saw basically they observed a thing in that the rules which are collectively applicable to entire European Union might not be as beneficial to UK as they might be to other countries. As we also know, the European Union countries have an option to use the same currency, which is euro. Although United Kingdom was not using it, but many countries use the euro uh, as their currency, except few such as Denmark and we can say Switzerland also. Swiss franc is there and Danish krona is there. So the thing here is that the collective policies might affect the home country in sense of, as we say, if other countries does something wrong, the effects are borne by the home country. So there the UK saw some opportunity, or not opportunity as such, they saw a threat that they can't hold themselves responsible for the deeds of other countries. And that was basically what I understand is a trigger point which would have, brought in the topic of Brexit on the table. So that's what I would like to add.
May I
And
also add something if it's okay with you guys?
yes, Mikhail, please.
So there is a bit of a worry over here because many people are looking at Brexit as a good thing, many are looking at it as a bad thing. What it essentially boils down to is the freedom that UK will get. So, like in terms of agricultural subsidies, in terms of VAT contributions, UK consumers have to pay a lot of money for that. Also, there's a lot of red tape that's involved. So even smaller companies can't do businesses that well. So and they but now what has happened is now they have freedom, so they can capitalize on trade with other major economies like Japan and India and US. So they also pay like huge exorbitant amounts of membership fees to the EU, and that money can be utilized for their own people. For example, in the UK there's something known as the National Health Service, the NHS.
Yes,
So
yes.
this money can be used to fund that. So essentially, what this all boils down to is how much freedom is UK willing to have, the freedom to essentially make their own mistakes. So the downside is UK may lose their bargaining power. They will have to recreate trade deals with other countries. They will, let's say, businesses are hurt if more goods are subject to tariffs, if raw material costs, though they increase, and as you mentioned, if the value of pound, if that hypothetically the currency falls, if maybe UK FDIs increase in terms of, or it decreases based on how the world economies react, UK will basically have the freedom to own their mistakes as opposed to shifting the blame to the EU and say it happened because the EU did this. So basically, this is what is interesting about this whole Brexit deal: freedom, and that's what I would like to maybe contribute to this discussion.
Yes, thank you so
Absolutely.
much, Mikhail. And
Varad, even I have just one more point to add.
yes,
This
Akash,
is a
please.
very maybe a very new point that many people might not have seen. Is UK's advantage after having independence from European Union and its effect on Commonwealth. So as we know, even though most of the countries have had their own independence from United Kingdom, but talking on a financial point of view and a business point of view, these countries are still dependent usually on United Kingdom for free trade. So we could probably see United Kingdom wanting to bring forward more deals with these countries, maybe try to capture in more control with them, maybe have these countries be more dependent on them, make some kind of majority stake with United Kingdom. So some countries might have to look out for it, because as we have seen in previous years, Botswana is a good example where it was protectorate of United Kingdom for many years after independence, and this usually has financially affected them. So many countries might have to look forward to this, that UK does not exorbitantly use on their power over them right now. So this
Yes.
is something that could be looked forward to.
Yes, exactly. Very well said, Akash. And the points were really relevant in this term. And thank you so much, Mikhail, also for adding such a great points and eventually great value to our forum. So here we come to the end of the forum, and I would like to thank all the listeners, all the audience for joining the session. And I would like all our viewers to uh, please put it in the comments what things we could improve. Also, the things you would like to watch in our coming sessions. So I hope you like the session. I hope you got to know a lot of things, and we would try to provide you with more such information in the coming future. Thank you so much, guys.